Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast.
Diggity dank.
Hello and welcome back to another week of the Nightwing News, week 2 of our Multimedia Mania. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, it is.
Hello, I'm Kristen.
And we're going to be talking two different versions of the same story. Joker's Millions from Batman the Animated Series and Detective Comics number 180. So,
a true classic.
Yes. Many decades separating the two, so we'll see how we...
That is true, many.
Yeah.
Like,
how they...
30 years? Maybe 40.
Hold on, let me...
I didn't... The detective one was not on...
Yeah, it's not on the app.
Yeah.
Okay. The Detective 180 was 1952.
Yeah,
so when the animated series hit, it was over 40 years between. So
yeah, like probably been about like 45, maybe,
something like that. Yeah,
because it was probably like 97 or 98. Maybe.
Yeah, it was like that last season of Red Skies. But yeah, so I was trying to think before we jumped on. I don't think there's any big Nightwing news. Well, last week we recorded on Wednesday. It's Monday now, so I have not gotten my new comics yet, so I don't know if there's any Nightwing this week. So, in anyone else's books. So,
yeah, whose book is coming out this week?
That's what I was gonna say. I have my. Let me open up my list here. I take the store with me. Action. Of course, there's a bunch of Batman stuff. You know, Bruce. We got.
Oh, did you read that? We have it, but I haven't been reading it. Did you read that Batman Catwoman, the like limited series? It was 12 issues.
Yes.
So did they get married at the end of that?
Yeah. Although it's weird. I mean, the whole series kind of like jumped around in time. So like they even show the future after like Bruce is dead, and you know, Selena and her daughter Helena just arguing back and forth. You know.
Because so do many of the other were the other bad kids in it?
Not most of them, but like in the future, like Selena kills the Joker. Spoilers. And not only does her daughter want to bring her in, but Commissioner Dick Grayson is also trying to bring her in.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, you really don't get any of the rest of the family though. Like I don't think we get a Barbara.
That's interesting. Dick being the commissioner, because a lot of times it's Barbara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From the sounds of it, it sounded like he didn't always agree with the way Helena did stuff as Batwoman, or.
I mean, that's kind of from like Earth 2, remember? Because when Dick and Helena are working, Dick's the older, sensible one, and Helena's the rash one.
Oh, I'm reading a story right now. Lilith and I are going to be covering on the Justice League podcast. America versus the Justice Society. So it is an Earth 2 story, and it's one of those older ones where that supposedly. Batman's already dead, but like supposedly his. I don't know how it ends. I haven't finished it yet, but
is this the one where Dick's their lawyer?
Well, supposedly Batman's diary pops up claiming, oh yeah, the Justice Society were like tools of Hitler the whole time. Secret agents for Hitler the whole time. So
yeah, I read this one. I think I was telling you about it one time. Yeah, Dick's like the prosecutor for the government or whatever.
Yeah. And Helena's defending the Justice Society. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, Bruce would never lie. And, well, Dick's the one that proves that the diary's a fake.
Spoilers, I'm not done yet.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I told you about it before.
I know, but no, it's interesting because it's like, Dick's like, oh, you're dragging your father's good name through the mud, and Helena's like, it can't be true, and look, it's going to take down the whole Justice Society, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Earth 2 Batman. So, well, it's funny because like Superman's checking, he's like, yeah, it looks like his handwriting. I guess Earth 2 Batman disguised his handwriting so people wouldn't link him to Bruce Wayne. So as Batman, he would write left-handed.
He thinks of everything.
I know. As Batman, he writes left-handed.
Of course he does. Of course he does. Yeah, no, that's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
you
all
would think, because like Dick's obviously wrong because like they can't, but
yeah,
it actually comes off pretty well.
Like if you want a crash course in the history of the Justice Society, yeah, read that. It's 4 oversized issues, and yeah, they really go into the history of the Justice Society. Because the committee's just like, well, what happened in 1945? Oh, what happened in 1945?
I remember when I read it, I like skipped through a lot of the stuff because I was mostly reading it for Dick reasons.
Yeah,
so
very wordy. Yes, yeah. Even I'm like, that's a lot of info.
All right.
All right. So, all right. Oh, you know what I could do? I know we were talking about doing the animated series first, but I have a synopsis for the Detective 180. I could read that, and then we can like discuss the differences if you want, or.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, because like we said, the original story was from Detective Comics 180 from February 1952 to Joker's Millions, of course. Writer David Vern Reed, never heard of him. Penciler Dick Sprang, of course, heard of. Inker Charles Paris, and editor Jack Schiff. The crime lord King Barlow, so that's the same, has died and left all his fortune in money and jewels to his sworn enemy, the Joker. Using his newfound fortune, Joker changes his lifestyle, buys a gigantic mansion, and becomes a frequent client of social clubs. However, when the time comes for Joker to pay the mandatory taxes after an inheritance, he realizes that almost the entire money and jewels left by Barlow are fake, and he has no actual money to pay his taxes. Joker has to take up crime once again to afford the amount of money he has to pay in taxes, but he commits normal crimes to prevent rising suspicion of Barlow's trick on him. Despite his efforts for doing regular crimes, there are always an unsuspected clue that points toward him as the mastermind behind them. The newspapers include every other crime on their headlines, and they are always attributed to the Joker. Later, Joker finally tells the truth to a crook named Duke Gorman, and not long after this, Batman confronts Joker with a confession recorded, revealing that he had been posing as Gorman. Joker tries to escape using one of the jewels before realizing that it was one of the fake ones. Joker is finally captured, and his millionaire charade comes to an end. Yeah, there's a lot more twists and turns in this than the animated series episode.
Right. Well, I have to say first, whoever got this idea, I think it is a really great idea. The idea that a criminal who hated another criminal would will him all of his wealth, then it turns out to be fake, is genius.
Tries to destroy him with taxes. They're like, that's how they got Capone.
It's genius. Yes, it's so genius.
I know,
because of course Joker's also like, oh, I don't want to be the laughing stock of the criminal underworld.
I mean, that's his conundrum in both stories, because it's like, well, I gotta either come up with the money, but if I admit that that most of the money was fake, then everyone's gonna know I was taking the joke was on me.
I know King Barlow, he has the Joker's number. He knows he doesn't want to. His pride will get in the way.
But yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of differences between in what was it, 40 some years. Again, there was no Harley in the original, the comic book story. Dick was Nightwing in the animated series. He was Robin here.
They also had to vastly increase the amount of money.
Well, yeah, I mean, the difference between 1952 and 1990, whatever, 96, 97, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the animated
Yeah.
series, I remember the amount, King Barlow was like, oh, only 10 million of it was real. But yeah, and then we actually got some Barbara in the animated series too.
Yes, and I think that was the thing that was weirdest. I mean, I didn't really watch that version so much because it came out a few years later. But look, going back, that is one of the things that's weirdest to me about that version is how close they make how much Barbara Batgirl works with Batman, which is really not what happened in the comics.
Yeah.
Like she's always been much more independent in the comics than she was in the animated series.
I think they just did that because it made it easier on them, so they didn't have to do like 2 stories every time. Oh, here's Batman coming from this direction. Here's Batgirl coming from this direction.
Right, and I mean, and I assume it was to like appeal more to kids. So like, oh, have more girls watch it because there's a girl in it. Not that girls will only watch girls, boys will only watch boys, but
Although,
it was
I mean,
in the 90s.
I guess
And
I guess they had a lot.
boys, I assume, also.
Yeah, I guess they had a lot going on and a lot of characters, but I was like, where's Tim in this episode?
Well, you know what I've noticed is a lot of times I mean, don't quote me on this because it's been a while since I've seen all these episodes, but a lot of the time they don't use all 4 of them.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah,
many of the episodes don't include all 4.
Yeah, Dick's only in a handful of those episodes. Yeah,
right. And usually, if Dick's in it, Tim's not. Or there's one episode where they go to the circus, and I think Barbara's not in that episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, we're gonna have to cover that one where they show like what how Dick and Bruce like split up.
Old wounds.
Yes, that's one of my favorites. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Joker's Millions first aired February 21st, 1998.
Okay, so 46 years afterwards.
Yep.
So they had to up it by 200 and some million to make it realistic in the 90s.
Written by Paul Dini himself, so yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Things that I thought it was pretty hilarious in the comic how they have the reading of the will. And so it's like all these crooks are there. And
oh my god. But no,
he's like, I leave Batman 1 penny. And of course Batman's not there to claim it.
I know. Oh my god, but then the animated series was funny with Joker and Harley and that robbery in the beginning, what was it, like a Tekken? And Harley and Joker's like, I wouldn't even do this if we had cash, and then they like run out of gas.
Yeah. Well, and just also watching now at the tech, like, wow, it's just a reminder of how fast that kind of technology has changed.
I know. But I love that they ran out of gas for the car, but he had enough fuel for that ejector seat.
Priorities.
Uh-huh.
Priorities.
Oh my god, then the end of the episode, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's the Joker, but I'm like, oh, happy ending, I guess. A mental patient gets beaten in police custody. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a little dark for a kids show.
But it's again, it's the Joker. How much torment put Harley through.
They change it up, but you do kind of still have the nightclub aspect of it. Because Joker went to the Penguins Club, which
Iceberg Lounge,
the Iceberg Lounge. But here Dick and Bruce see the Joker at their clubs. Because, back in the 40s and 50s, they didn't care that it didn't make sense. I mean, who knows? Maybe it didn't matter in the 40s and 50s. Maybe you could totally take your youthful ward with you to the gentleman's club.
I mean, it didn't almost seem like like either like a men's club or even like a country club. And again, I'm sure Bruce is paying enough money; they're gonna let him.
Right? Yeah, it's just funny.
But I mean, it made more sense in the animated series because it was Penguin's Iceberg Lounge, so of course there's going to be a bunch of criminals there, so it made more sense. But I love Barbara. They're about to get turned away. She's like, "Oh, I can't believe he turned away the commissioner's daughter." He's like, "Oh, Gordon's brat."
That was definitely one of the funniest parts of the episode too. Was they knew that they needed to go undercover to the Iceberg Lounge, and she's like, "So do you want to go?" And Bruce is like, and she's like, "I'll call Dick."
I know. It's even like she's like, "Oh, maybe nowadays Rich will give up crime," and Batman's just like, "Grr." She's like, "I'll call Dick."
Yeah, that was a pretty funny one. The only sad thing was in that episode, you could not tell that Dick had the ponytail. I was like, if you already knew it was there, you could be like, I think he has it, but not knowing really wasn't obvious.
But then Dick and Barbara saved Joker from getting killed by
Yes, and he tips him, he gives him money, and they both wad it up and throw it on the
I know,
ground.
and he just starts laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tips him. They toss it. Oh, that would have been funny if he would have without even realizing it, if he had tipped them with the fake money and they had taken it back to Bruce to analyze it, and they're just like, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't real money."
Yeah.
But no, Batman's just watching the whole episode. He's waiting because he knows the Joker's gonna eventually go back to
Yep. He's just waiting.
Okay, I mean, they kind of did it in the comic too, but in the animated series, Joker's living in an apartment, and I'm like, since when does he live in an apartment? Doesn't he usually hole up in abandoned warehouses or some kind of amusement park or something with a clown face or a toy motif, something.
Yeah, maybe it was an abandoned apartment. I don't know.
No, because when he walks in, the woman's like, "Oh, you're 2 weeks late."
Oh yeah, that's right. You owe me
Yeah,
money.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even an abandoned
He's
one,
in between hideouts, Phil.
I guess. I'm like, I guess, did he get released or something? I was like, wait a minute. So he's not a wanted criminal at the moment. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he must not be.
You can't say you don't recognize him.
Yeah, he's pretty obvious. But yes, in the comic, the Joker, he just realizes the money is fake when the IRS man shows up.
Well, he realizes it too when in the animated series when the guy shows up, because then he's loading up the money. He's like, wait a minute, and then all his gang's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think it might be reversed in the show. The tax guy comes and then he realizes the money's fake, and here he's realizes the money's fake almost at the exact moment the tax guy walks in.
Yeah, because he's like, I can't tell him. Yeah, it is reversed. Yeah, because he's like, I can't tell him. But oh my god! But that's funny too. The animated series when one of his henchmen like, boss. He's like, you're not gonna pay to spring Harley. He's like, no, it'd be cheaper to hire a new one.
Right. Well, in his excellent quote where he's like, I take on Batman, but I can't take on the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Oh my god! But those crimes he tries to pull off in the comic, just he's like, I'll do a hold up at a ticket booth at the movies. He's like, no one would think the great Joker would do such a petty little crime.
Well, the first one, I love it when he tunnels into the bank, and they show this tunnel he's going through. How long would it take him to dig a tunnel like that? So long. But yeah, that's the accident. The Joker doesn't know, but that joke, bank night, come and get your share, falls down, and everyone's like, oh, the Joker did it on purpose.
Yeah, because in the animated series, he only gets attempt to pull one job. Yeah, those
the comic is much longer.
Yeah,
I guess you would say than the animated series.
Well, I think they spent more time on the setup in the animated series. Plus, they were adding more humor. Again, you had the addition of Harley and stuff, and
right. Well, and they showed the how they had that how they had that episode or the stuff at the beginning to show that Joker didn't have a lot of money,
exactly.
how
Yeah.
the hyenas were hungry,
Mhm.
and stuff. Whereas in this one, they just jump straight in, like,
Yeah.
Joker got this money.
I love in the comic, he's like buying a big, now that he has money, he's trying to buy a big mansion, and he's like, that's not big enough, and then guy's like, yeah, that's like 78 rooms.
Yeah. I know, but then you don't see which one he buys, so who knows how big it is. And then and I think in the animated series, they don't seem Batman and crew don't seem to figure out that the money is fake, dude.
I don't know if they ever. I don't think they ever come out and say whether Batman figured it out or not that the money was fake. I think he just keeps watching Joker, knowing he's going to slip, but he's eventually going to pull another crime.
Right, because in the show, I mean, in the comic, they know that it's fake because Joker is carrying his wad of money that his dick says is big enough to choke a horse. And then when Bruce tries to pick it up to give it to him, he's like, ah.
Oh, I opened up the page for the animated series. But there's some notes here. Yeah, Joker's poverty, a result of Batman's success in shutting down his operations, was first referenced in Superman the Animated Series, World's Finest, when he comes to Metropolis and offers to kill Superman for Lex Luthor in exchange for $1 billion. But yeah, thanks in large part to Batman's interference, Joker didn't get the job done. But yeah, he still has money problems, and they never explain how he survived the Lex Wing explosion. They never do. Oh yeah, and I love how the henchmen, because they couldn't do this in the comics, it hadn't happened yet, but in the animated series, yeah, the guy's like, "Why don't you pull one of your one of your wacky, like the laughing fish thing?" And he's like, "You idiot! They're gonna,
Yeah, Batman don't know it's me."
yeah."
So yeah, after seeing them at the Joker at the club, Batman and Robin realize, because Batman touched the bill quickly and some of the ink is like, oh, it's phony. The Joker's not really rich.
But yeah, Batman isn't convinced Joker will give up a life of crime even with all the money he has now. He had a similar concern with the Riddler in the Batman the Animated Series episode Riddler's Reform.
Batman's not very trusting.
Oh yeah, and then when Joker had that fake Joker in the animated series, Bruce was like testing him. Bruce tests the fake Joker by referring to when he pushed him off a building a month ago. This event also occurred in part 2 of World's Finest, when Joker kidnapped Lois Lane and had Bruce tossed over the edge for laughs.
Wait, so is this a show or is this a companion comic book?
No, this was like, I guess it was I thought it was a movie, but I guess it was like the two-parter in Superman the Animated Series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Joker's lawyer reappears in Over the Edge. That's another good episode.
Yeah, wait, Joker's what?
Lawyer.
Oh, his lawyer. Oh.
Remember the one, I guess it's supposed to be like Johnny Cochran or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Then the Joker, in this one, he steals money from the opera. And so then Batman, knowing it's the Joker, takes the tickets for I Pagliacci, which is the opera with the clown. So everyone's like, oh, the Joker did it. And he's like, how do people know? I also like when the Joker says, at least this fake money is of some use. This mansion I bought is cold as an igloo, and I can't spend any genuine money. So he's heating his house with the fake bills.
Oh, here we go. There are also, these notes say that, yeah, it's based on the Detective Comics 180, but there are also some similarities with the 1985 film Brewster's Millions, including the mocking videotape message delivered to the main character, Richard Pryor, who we talked about last month, by his elderly benefactor, Hume Crone. Brewster's Millions was first published as a novel in 1902 and later adapted to film in 1914 and 1921, though the 1985 version remains the most well known. It thus may have partially inspired the original comics. Oh, so the original film version in 1914 and 1921 may have inspired the comic, which then inspired the animated series.
Although 1914 and 1921 is like a long time away from 1950.
Yeah. But again, if you have some old men working on Detective Comics in 1952.
Yeah, or if somebody had read the novel.
Yeah, or,
Yeah. So then Batman reveals to Robin that that's why he took those tickets, so that people know it's the Joker, and so hopefully the Joker can confess. Oh, yeah. And then they go to the zoo. Batman runs off, and he says, Robin, go back to the Batcave. And then we see what happens. Batman locked himself into a cage with a monkey dressed like the Joker.
Oh yeah, the scene where Joker uses lawyers to buy his freedom is a satire of the O.J. Simpson murder case. One of the Joker's lawyers resembles Johnny Cochran, one of Simpson's defense attorneys. The lawyer's statement, "If a man's filled with glee, that man must go free," is a clear parody of Cochran's now famous catchphrase regarding a glove: "If it does not fit, you must acquit."
Yeah. So obviously that has to be different. They couldn't have done that in the 50s.
Oh no. Yeah. And yes, of course. I mean, we knew this before, but yes, the only thing saving Joker from the electric chair is insanity.
So then, after Batman gets out of the zoo cage, who comes up but Duke Gorman saying, "Aha, that was a great stunt, Joker." Joker's like, it wasn't me. And then he's like, well, but who could it be? And he's like, okay, I did it.
Oh, you got me. It was me.
Yeah. Well, because his thought is like, I lost the loot. Might as well get something out of that.
Oh, my.
So then he confesses it, and he reveals, I took this random giraffe from the desk of the director, and he gets busted. Batman and the cops show up. And he's like, you can't prove it. He's like, haha, yes, I can. I recorded you. He's like, ah. And Joker gets busted by all of King Barlow's fake jewels. It's like, I'll cut my way out with this glass. Nah, it's fake. Bummer, Joker.
But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of similarities. I think, the only reason, again, just the era, and you had more characters like Harley in the animated series. Dick was Nightwing now.
Yeah, they they simplified the number of crimes that he was pulling, but then added in more topical stuff, because there wouldn't really have been any funny lawyer things back in the 50s, because that wasn't so much.
They did more humor in the animated series. The Joker pulled another boner. Remember that episode, kids?
I can't believe they didn't do that show for.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they're not gonna do that in the show, especially in the 90s.
Oh, that would have been hilarious. Hilarious. But yeah, I mean, it was cool that they adapted it so that it had Nightwing in it, and he could kind of, because that really did kind of reduce Batman's role since he was like too mad.
I know.
Joker was pulling a fast one. He couldn't concentrate. So Dick and Barbara got to be the undercover. And at the end, Nightwing also got to swoop in and
Yes.
kick some thugs in the face.
As I said, even when they save Joker the Iceberg Lounge, that's the first thing. Dick throws the rang. They hit the guy's gun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Of course, then Bruce goes back later and like talks with him, and then almost immediately becomes Batman. It's like, why? It seems suspect. But apparently, everyone in Gotham is oblivious.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think they played the animated series more for the humor and stuff, and the comics of that era, it's always, hey, the lesson was always, hey, crime doesn't pay.
That's true. And it didn't, but it is good that they adapted this one because it is pretty funny, and it is it is honestly a genius way to get back at someone.
Yeah, they had adapted a few. I mean, especially Joker ones. It's like, yeah, they did the Laughing Fish one. Heck, they did the werewolf one.
Right. Well, yeah, a lot of. I mean, that's kind of why I picked this one though, is because a lot of, the various Robins Reckoning are adapted
Yeah.
from the different stories, but this one was an early one because a lot of the Batman animated series ones that they adapted were from the 70s.
Yeah.
And they don't have anybody but Batman in them.
But they also, I mean, that animated series added stuff to the comics too, like Harley. Harley never
Right.
showed up before the animated series, and like they were gonna get, from what I hear, they were gonna get rid of Mr. Freeze until that first Mr. Freeze episode. Where they Paul Dini sets up the origin with their wife and everything, and that people like that. So, because before that, I think he was just, he was a guy who froze himself, then he had to wear that suit and stuff.
There are some hints of Mr. Freeze being a little bit deeper in one of the 1966 episodes. Like, they don't necessarily give him the whole backstory with his
Yeah.
wife, but he does talk about, like, oh, it's kind of sad to, never be able to feel the sun and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because like, I think Denny even ordered them, like, they kind of, the Joker kind of attacks Mr. Freeze in the Robin 2 miniseries, and he tells his guys to toss him in the river. I guess that was supposed to be the end of Mr. Freeze, but yeah, after the animated series episode made him so popular, they brought him back during Nightfall. Cause he like wakes up in a morgue because he was frozen in a block of ice in the river, and it's Azrael as Batman. He's like looking at this armored Batman. He's like, "What year is this? How long have I been frozen?" Meanwhile, it'd only been like a year or two.
Nice. So this was a better one because some of them, and I'm not sure, but I think, some of them are. Some of the Riddler ones in particular, I think, are really excellent in the animated series. But I'm not sure if there's not like a specific comic I can necessarily pinpoint. I don't know. I'd have to work more on it. But this one, the Joker's Millions, it's very obvious because it's even called the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, they tried like in the more modern comics, they've tried to reinvent the Riddler. I mean, at one point he figured out who Batman was, but of course we gave him the amnesia eventually. He was working as like a private detective for a while and stuff. So they tried all kinds of stuff with the Riddler.
I think that actually the Riddler he's a little like more laughy in the 66 series, but I think actually the Riddler in the 66 series and particularly in the animated series is really excellent.
Well, yeah, because I think that's when the Joker works. Like when they in the animated series, when you have to give him a brain, he can't be like a moron. Yeah, he has to have some kind of high IQ, and he can't outfight Batman physically, so he has to present him a challenge mentally, or it doesn't work. Oh, that's one
So
of
do
the.
you prefer the comic or the animated version, Phil?
I probably like the animated version a little more. I mean, they're both good, but I probably prefer the animated. What did you prefer? They both had Dick Grayson, so
It's hard. See, I would say that I kind of prefer the written one, the comic, because it had like some more twists and turns. But there are some really excellent quotes in the animated one, such as Joker saying, "I'm not a fool enough to take on the IRS," and that's really spot on.
and I mean Dick got a little more to do in the animated series. In the comic, again he's a kid, but it's just like, oh, what's the Joker up to, Batman?
Well, he does also realize something's up with the
I
money,
know.
but yes.
All right. So anything else?
But yeah, I guess I just liked how it was kind of like longer. Like it took
Yeah.
them longer to trap the Joker. Because yeah, it was kind of like Batman suspected, the Joker's gonna do something, and then they busted him. Whereas that one, they kind of messed. Whereas in the comic, they kind of messed with the Joker, and I thought that was cool.
Let's Joker take himself down in the animated series.
Mhm. Oh,
I
yeah.
love how Batman lets him get his hand on the money, and then the black plane just like blows the money. He's like, no.
Yeah. Although that's like also kind of a problem because that really was money, and now what are they gonna do? Like,
Oh, I'm sure Bruce Wayne replaced that money. I'm sure,
I guess.
or it was Bruce Wayne's money. Who knows?
Who knows indeed.
I was waiting for Joker to open that armored car and pick up that money, and instead of King Barlow, like it was like Batman on the bills or something. And he was like, no, not again.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
Oh my god, but fake Harley. Show him Mr. G.
Hey, yeah. I mean, she was pretty funny. All right, that's all I got.
All right. So, yes, I thought it was a good week. Next week, yes, we're going to be doing more multimedia because next week, for the comics, we'll be covering two comics, Detective Comics 140 and Batman 171, and the Batman 66 episode, Hi Diddle Riddle. Kristen is stoked.
Wait, are we covering both of them, or is that the next week? Because isn't it like High Diddle Riddle and there's like a two. We probably need to watch both of them.
I don't know, unless that's is that a season 3 one? Because sometimes didn't they have like one-offs in season 3 maybe? Like some of those Batgirl ones.
I'll check, but we might have to watch 2 parts.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, because I'm looking, because all the other ones I see we have both parts on. Like the week after is a two-part Joker, then the next week is 2-part Mr. Freeze, and it looks like another 2-part Joker.
I think it might be like, okay, what is it? Hi
Diddle Riddle.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be unless one.
Yes, it's the first part. Hi Diddle Riddle. Oh, so the next one is smack in the middle. Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to watch both of them.
All right, I'll put that down.
This is actually the pilot episode.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay.
This is the first one.
Batman can't drive because he has accidentally consumed alcohol. Yes.
I believe this is also the one where we see the teenage girls that are like, Robin, ah! So it's going to have something for everyone.
And Riddler tries to steal the Batmobile. Okay.
Yep. So yes, watch both High Diddle Riddle and Smack in the Middle because we can't leave you hanging.
Oh,
we can't watch it and end on the cliffhanger.
I don't know how I missed that, but yes, I put it down. So both episodes. So yes, High Diddle Riddle and Smack in the Middle, plus Detective Comics 140 and Batman 171.
Heck yeah.
All right, kids. So yes, send us your thoughts, or if you see Dick in any new DC Comics this week, I'll be getting my comics in 2 days. So Yeah, send your thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Nightwing News on Facebook, on Twitter. Join the Nightwing fan group on Facebook. Find links to all the various social medias for all the DC and Marvel shows we do. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Everything we do goes up there. Every episode of Nightwing News, there's a playlist for that. Every episode we do interviews. We just talked on Friday. Me, Lilith, and Charlie just talked to Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly live from Comic-Con. Yes, the writers of the current Captain America Sentinel of Liberty series and the current Batman Beyond Neo Year series. So yeah, they got a lot, and they have more stuff coming. So yes, talented guys. So yes, smash the subscribe button on the YouTube so you don't miss any of that stuff.
Smash it.
And of course, the Patreon again. No dead gangsters are leaving us any money.
That's probably good because it might be fake.
That's true. Well, some of it was real. But anyway, yes. So yes, help us fund this thing. Every little bit helps. With $3 to $5 gets you early access to all the creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with Mr. DG Chichester himself.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And superhero movie brackets, because Lilith Hellfire loves man pain. The July episode will be Halle Berry's Catwoman versus Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. And of course, yes, Green Lantern. So special guest, Lilith demanded, Mr. Will Allred, #1 Hal Jordan fanboy.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
So you get all that. And if that's not enough, pick yourself up. Be cool. Pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. You can find everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. All right. And if you really want to be cool, you will go to Amazon. You will pick up Dick Grayson Boy Wonder. You want to know about Dick Grayson in the Golden Age, the Silver Age, everything from his origin until now. Pick up. Oh, that's a lot of work, kids. Pick up the Cliff Notes. Dick Grayson Boy Wonder. It explains it all. Brought to you by the #1 Dick Grayson fangirl right there. See, she's not denying it. All right, kids. So yes, come back. Join us
Wore
next
my Robin shirt for this episode.
Noise. I wore my Nightwing shirt. I don't think I have a Robin shirt. None of them.
I think I actually have more Robin shirts than Nightwing shirts.
She like when she can see his legs, kids.
I like red. I really like red.
Okay. I like blue.
And I like all of the Robins.
I know.
I just like Dick the best.
I know. All right, kids. So yes, next week, Detective Comics 140, Batman 171, and 2 Batman 66 episodes. Hi, Diddle Riddle, and Smack in the Middle. That's right. The first 2 episodes of Batman are 66. All right. So join us next time. Remember, join us same wing time.
Same wing channel.
The Nightwing News. Remember, kids, pay your taxes.